What up, Gabe?
Hey there, Ian.
What up?
And hey there, interwebs, World Wide Webs, internet webs.
Internet webs.
Welcome to Blank as a Fart. I'm Gabe. This is Ian. I'm the expert. He's the noob, and we're watching Twin Peaks. If
Are
you
we?
hadn't guessed already,
Is that what we're watching?
that's all backwards online, isn't it?
What?
My inverted Bang Bang Bar T-shirt.
No, it's good. You're good. It's inverted for you, so it's perfect. It's fine for me and the world. Yeah, that's how you know everything's fine.
Good to hear.
Good to hear. It says bar bang.
Bar bang.
No,
that's not the inversion I was anticipating.
I know, right?
Wild. Thank you, AI. Anyway, we're plugging right along. We're at what? Season 2, is this episode 6?
Yeah, and
I believe the name of this one is Demons.
Demons.
Yeah.
And just before we jump into this, I just want to say Happy Juneteenth to all the people hanging out on Twitch, which is nobody, and to our listeners that will be listening to hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, Happy Juneteenth, and brings up a wonderful question: why is this show so white?
Well, it is like North Washington.
Jimi Hendrix was from Seattle, Gabe.
That's still not that far north.
I mean, they mention Seattle all the time.
They do. We've got Hawk.
Hawk is a Native American. There's a couple Asians.
Yeah.
There's a Asian face person, apparently. I mean,
right.
It looks like it anyway.
Maybe one less Asian than we think.
Anyway,
who's to say, really?
Well, I'm going to say that's confirmed.
I'm sure you've got plenty to say about it. Yeah, as we visited on this one last week, HD has not been kind to certain aspects of this show.
It's like, holy shit. Anyway. Funny. Very funny. Anyway. Yes.
Plug the socials real quick. Instagram, Blank as a Fart. Threads, Blank as a Fart. Facebook, Blank as a Fart. Email, blankasafartpod@gmail.com. Are we flashing it already?
Well, I put it up. You said it, so I put it up. I'll take it down in a minute, but there it is.
There it is.
You can write to us, email it us.
Show it off early this
week.
There
you go. I could also just leave it up, but I'll take it down. All right. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Diving into Demons, are we?
So the fun thing about this, right off the bat, the first thing I noticed is that David Lynch is in the cast credits.
Oh, yeah.
In the opening cast credits. It's like, oh, okay. This should be interesting. Because he doesn't direct this one.
No, he doesn't.
But he obviously was there for a day. So.
He was. And I'm sure, at this point there was at least some time spent in the writer's room. Because there are stories about certain parts of these episodes that confirm that. We'll go over that later, though.
Yeah.
Right now, we'll start from the top, as is so often the case. We pick up right where we left off last week, right in the middle of Harold's self-harming episode. Maddie and Donna are... Oh, my goodness. I did not go for these notes and edit them yet. Bag off. That's what they're saying. They're protesting that their intentions were good, but Harold melodramatically expresses his anger at this betrayal and is having none of their shit. He angrily demands the return of the diary and makes a grab for it just as James bursts in to save the day. He hustles the girls out, but Harold still manages to grab the diary back in the chaos. The kids gather their wits outside. Maddie looks on while Donna breaks down, apologizing to James, promising to take responsibility for the situation with the sheriff. Meanwhile, Harold furiously pumps his atomizer and screams.
That last scene where he's doing that to the flowers and stuff, I thought he was climaxing or something. He throws his head back. It's just it's so much.
It's a lot.
That guy is a lot. I don't know what to say.
That just comes across as soap opera training to me, which, maybe it's what got him the job. I forget what those early credits of his were. I suppose we could always go back and check.
Which is funny. We haven't seen the soap opera much lately, speaking of.
No, we get a lot more of that in the back half.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Yeah, which we're fast approaching, mind you. ominous external shots of dark rushing waters and the wind in the forest at the night as the supporting cast credits roll. And I thought that was kind of weird.
Oh, yeah.
But those didn't happen until after the whole conclusion of that scene. And I guess that's good for cliffhanger purposes, but gives you a little bit of time for that to sink in, and then we get, some quiet moments to go over that.
I did think that was weird because I thought I had missed like the director and everything. Like, oh wow,
no, yeah.
And then like, oh, here they are. Oh, and then
yeah.
Anyway,
just an interesting choice this week. Eventually, we land on an owl, which we all know is not what it seems. We're off to the bookhouse where Cooper and the gang have arrived with a poor, doped-up Audrey. Return of James's bookhouse boy biker buddies. Oh, first try I pulled that one off. Remember those guys? They're here to help. Lighting lamps, setting fires, or starting intentional fires in fireplaces.
Right.
Not arson, not Leo shit. Audrey is struggling bad. She's having nightmares about Daddy and somebody choking her and sinking into the depths. But eventually she comes to and sees Cooper, and her relief is obvious as she tells him she prayed for him to come.
She also wrote to him to come, but hey.
She did, yeah. But he didn't actually come until after she prayed, so.
Right.
The FBI, I guess they just require that little extra push.
I think it's so funny that they brought her back there. Let's not go to a hospital. Let's go back to the fucking basement of this where there's roots and shit on the ceiling. And
remember, they are operating outside their jurisdiction. I mean, they don't necessarily want to show up with a 17-year-old in the middle of a heroin overdose.
Like, the doctor hasn't been part of their underground bullshit already. Like,
oh, fair enough. They could have at least got Doc Haywood in with some Narcan or whatever.
Come on. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah. Dramatic choice here, I would guess.
Let's take this girl back to the clubhouse, boys.
Well, yeah, when was the last time we shot a scene there, right?
It's just funny to me.
And, funny also how Ben Horn doesn't seem to question this when he comes to pick her up, right? He's like, why not a hospital,
Right.
Maybe she's uninsured.
Well, that's later. Even before that, I mean, we're getting to that scene, but like when he talks to her and fucking Coop says, he says, "Can I see my daughter?" And Coop's like, "No," basically.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Okay." Just like, okay.
Who made that decision?
That's not. That's just my kid. Whatever.
Right. Whatever. So yeah, as Maddie is driving away, Donna and James have a heart-to-heart, and they're starting to realize that maybe the Scooby-Doo shit isn't good for their mental health or their relationship right now. So they reaffirm their commitment to each other and to focus on them. And they culminate with a big old necking session right in the middle of the goddamn road.
Yep. And then the music, our favorite music, kind of cues.
Yeah, that's not going to be the last we hear of that cue.
The love theme, so good.
Just you.
Do we ever actually get the song again?
The full song?
Yeah, like the lyrics and shit, or no?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
We do.
Awesome.
Yes. When you least expect it.
Oh, great.
To be perfectly honest with you.
Jesus.
All yeah. Right. In an office in the bookhouse, Harry is going over a book of mugshots, eventually pointing out one of Jean Renault to Cooper. The two of them quickly hash out exactly what the whole plan really was for Audrey's kidnapping and why Cooper was involved. Cooper beats himself up over the harm caused to Audrey. Apparently, this is not the first time his commitment to the job has caused someone he cared about to get in harm's way. Harry is quick to reassure his friend, telling him, quote, "You are the best lawman I've ever seen, but sometimes you think too much." Cooper then heads to the Great Northern to return the money to Ben Horn and inform him of his daughter's condition. Horn continues to play dumb about the details regarding One-Eyed Jacks, tries a nice guy routine, complete with an awkward hug, but I think Cooper senses, like the rest of us do, that the money is definitely Ben's greater concern here. Scummy, 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 too, just like it's almost cartoony degree for Ben Horn right now. He's just like he's just like a Disney villain almost at this point, right?
Right, and this goes back to what I was just saying earlier about him, like not really. He cares. He's showing care for his daughter, but doesn't really care about his daughter because he's like, I think if honestly, if your child was like in this situation, you would rush to them. But he's obviously a villain, and they're doing. He doesn't. He's like, oh, it's fine. I'll see her in a bit. Clearly,
yeah. Like when he's throwing furniture around, his anger is at the inconvenience. It's not at the danger to his flesh and blood.
Right.
And now it's finally time for Leo to return home.
Oh my god! Oh, bring it! Ramp up the
Bobby
slapstick.
Wheeling Leo in on one of the most ancient wheelchairs I've ever seen, straight out of whatever happened to Baby Jane, and he's doing a shit job of it too.
Just that.
Meanwhile, the insurance representative expresses his admiration for Bobby and Shelley's commitment to Leo's care as he explains the details of all the expenses. Mm-hmm. Turns out, after all the subtractions, they're only going to end up with about $700 a month. A far cry from this easy street bullshit that Bobby was pitching.
Right.
Shelley's worst fears are rapidly coming true. She quit her job at the Double R for this. What are they going to do?
All I can say is Leo's best acting? ?
Well, yeah, because in the midst of this argument, Bobby and Shelley freeze as Leo utters a low grunt.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're coming soon on some of Leo's more memeable behavior.
Yep, I bet.
So, well, yeah, we're getting there real quick. Like,
oh, I know.
Yeah. Back at the sheriff's station, Donna is explaining her latest fuck up to Harry. He's a bit skeptical of her story as Donna and James have created a lot of grief for him in the weeks since Laura was murdered. He ultimately agrees to send someone to check Harold out when he has the time. They're rapidly interrupted by a loud query for the sheriff.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, before we get to that, he when he's talking to Donna, he references, this is just like the boy who cried wolf, because he references the last time they got involved. And I'm like, this is nothing like that, because I know that Dr. Jacoby got in trouble, but they did find something in Jacoby's office. So it's not like crying wolf. They were right then, and that's why they protected James from the drugs. So then his reference, this is nothing like the boy who... it's like, what? Who are the writers here? I mean, I'm obviously watching this week to week. Are you guys writing this week to week? Like, who? What is going on here?
They might be. They very well could be.
Anyway,
remember,
that was my
22 episodes this season.
Yeah, but we're not that far in yet. We're not. You know. I mean, I get that was the end of last season, but come on, where's the editorial process on this?
Yeah, maybe this was like an ad-libbed scene. Maybe they didn't have a lot of direction, and it was just a.
But it's directed by that lady that we liked directing it before. Like, what's her name?
Yeah, Leslie Linka Gletter.
Yeah.
And honestly, given like the outtakes I've seen that involve Michael Ontkian, who plays Harry, like he seems way more prone to stick to the script as opposed to like feel out the character. Like you definitely saw that difference between him and Kyle MacLachlan. Kyle MacLachlan would add just like a little different flavor to each take, even going so far as to add words to the line. But definitely not Harry.
Anyway, it just seemed very... Are the writers paying attention? Like, kind of, that's what it felt like. Anyway, continue on.
Yeah, because now they're getting to the comic relief.
Right.
A loud query for the sheriff, and that comes from Cooper's FBI supervisor, Gordon Cole. That's right, David Lynch is making his first on-screen appearance this episode. Comedy ensues thanks to Gordon's near-deafness and an archaic hearing aids.
Does it ensue?
You know, for a 12-year-old in 91, or 90, still 90 at this point, but late 90.
Gotcha.
I got some chuckles out of it, and honestly still got a couple here and there, just because I'm a big fan of non sequiturs, and like, he was throwing some random shit out there.
Oh, he
Like
was.
the one that got me was, "Thank you, Sheriff, but I already ate."
Mm.
That one, yeah, it got me. He does manage to offer a few interesting tidbits. Albert found fibers from a vicuna coat outside of Cooper's door the night he was shot. The one-armed man's drug is some weird combination of stuff that Albert has never seen. And the torn pages found down the tracks from the train are from a diary.
So
Where's
my understanding. So this when you were talking about the no sheriff, I already ate. So my understanding is like vicuna sounds like tuna. So that's why I thought when he says that vicuna coat, and it's like, and that's why then Lynch responds with, "No, thanks, Sheriff, I've already ate." That's where in my head I was thinking like tuna. I don't know. It probably has nothing to do with that. Maybe it does. Who knows? But that's what I was reading that in.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe just like Lynch put cotton in his ears and responded to whatever he heard, like a game of telephone or something.
Sure.
It's an amusing thought. There's the one armor now, calls Gordon as Hawk drags in a distressed Philip Gerard, whom the sheriff has some questions for.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Daddy is here to pick you up, Audrey. It's morning at the bookhouse, and Audrey appears to have slept through the worst of her heroin hangover. The family reunion isn't exactly blissful, as Ben, of course, has put on his caring father facade. But remember that this is the first time that Audrey is seeing him since their encounter at One-Eyed Jack's. Pretty sure she won't ever be able to look at Dad the same way again.
Yeah, she's pretty creeped out.
Yeah, she does go so far as to ask that Agent Cooper be the one who drives her home. Why don't we all go together? Her father suggests.
Because her father likes to watch.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Too far.
Not far enough. All right.
Just you wait.
Just you wait.
Quick interlude with Ed and Nadine as she continues to behave like an over-caffeinated 5-year-old.
Poor Ed.
Pretending to be a teenager, while Ed displays a wooden look of shock that presumably is intended to convey that he knows he's in over his head.
Where is this going?
I don't think you'd believe me if I told you.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'll hold on for this one. But it just seems like, what the fuck is this
I don't
about?
think it takes us long to get there, but so, she's a teenager. She's full of a lot of energy. What do you do with a teenager with energy? You give them some extracurricular activities to work that out.
I see.
And I'm not talking about like sexy time. I'm talking about, like sports.
Sport. Oh, sport. Sport. Okay.
Sports.
Sports ball.
Speaking of sports, we get a good close-up of some dude's belly button as he buckles his belt, and then a pan up a partially clothed and slightly disheveled Josie.
Josie giving up that ass.
A little hot. Little hot there. Josie looks like she and Jonathan appear to be post-coitus, although it doesn't seem like she was a terribly willing participant. Jonathan mocks Josie's expensive taste as he throws a plane ticket her way, telling her that they leave for Hong Kong tonight. Josie demands to stay for at least one more day as she still hasn't gotten her money from her scheming. But Jonathan threatens to kill Harry if she doesn't obey Mr. Eckert's wishes. Bum, bum, bum. What's your prediction for where we're going here?
Beyond the show?
Beyond
Harry this
episode, I mean? Danger, do you think?
I mean...
you think we get a combat scene? Mr. Lee and Harry throwing down?
Only if she comes back. If she actually leaves Mr. Lee and comes back to Harry, then yes. But if she just... Or if Harry follows her, but I don't see Harry following her to Hong Kong. I don't see that's in the... So I don't know. I guess my opinion was that these characters were going to leave for a while, and then maybe she'd show up again. That's what I would do. But I imagine that's not what's going to happen in this show because it's written by idiots. So, continue on.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
Yes.
Well, you'll have to wait and see.
Yes.
I already know.
That they fight next episode. They have a throwdown.
Guest star Jackie Chan. And now we get a rare moment in the sunshine in Twin Peaks as James meets Maddie by the lake to have a serious conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We get some really good communication here. He apologizes to her for trying to turn her into a Laura by proxy. She tells him, "Don't sweat it. I kind of liked it." She says it was fun to pretend to be someone else for a little while. Some cousin cosplay, I guess you could call it. But now it's time for her to be herself again. And that he and Donna obviously belong together.
Obviously.
James offers us some sappy teenage take on what love feels like. Ooh, boy, this line here. "I want to make the way my heart feels last forever." Can't you just see that on like a poster for a C. Thomas Howell movie in like '86 or something like that?
I think it's
like
on,
when they used to put that quote above the titles way
I
up
think
there.
You can go to Fred Meyer's and get it on a canvas. Just go purchase it.
Right next to Live, Laugh, Love.
Exactly.
But, it really does sound like something a 17-year-old kid would say to try and sound, deep and prophetic is not the word I'm looking for. But,
it's what he's trying to say to get inside her pants. Come on, guys. Come on.
Oh, no. He's already apologized for that.
No, he wants back in. Come on. He's a dude. He's a biker. He jumped from his... He already jumped from his girlfriend, his dead girlfriend, to her best friend. Why would he not jump from the best friend to the cousin and new friend? I mean, come on. He's just trying to get around. Clearly you don't know how these soap operas work, Gabe. Clearly you don't know how these soap operas work.
Clearly. Or maybe I do.
Maybe you do.
Then Maddie tells James that she's leaving for home for tomorrow. This is goodbye. She offers him a friendly farewell peck on the cheek.
And I wrote, "I wish we could all say bye, James."
You have no idea, dude. You have no idea.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyways, here we are at Ben Horn's office at the Great Northern. Josie's paying him a visit. They share a drink before Josie gets right to the point. "Where's the fucking money?" Ben dances around the issue and tries to charm Josie, but she's pretty firm about wanting her fucking money right fucking now. Ben correctly surmises that Josie is under some sort of pressure and produces a key that he claims is for his personal safe that contains a dossier about the suspicious death of Josie's husband, Andrew Packard. Remember him. Not to be deterred, Josie produces a key of her own.
She also produces a key but she also produces this like whole other attitude and like form of acting and like where did this come from? Let me just yoink this character out of my ass. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Also, something I noticed. Just like, have we even seen Josie laugh at any point?
Anything like this? It's like, you haven't been like this?
Smile?
Or it's just wild.
I mean, I guess in one aspect, it does like... It lets you know that Josie is a lot more smart than we have given her credit for.
Well, obviously a little bit for what she's been doing, but I would like to have seen some of that. Like, oh well.
Yeah, it feels very out of left field here.
Like I almost thought that her and Horn were gonna fuck for a moment. Like it was starting to get that kind of tension. Like
well, that's just the way Ben is with any woman. That's
I know, but then she was like really playing it up. Or even
10 years younger than his age in Catherine's case.
Like she was mirroring that, and I was just like...
Yeah, she did play it up a little bit, but...
Anyway.
Yeah, we're still not sure how,
I do like...
How much business Josie's done around town, I guess we could say.
Well, she's obviously sleeping around. I mean, she just slept with Mr. Lee. So I was like, I was like, well, I could totally buy her sleeping with Mr. Horn at this point. Like, fuck it. Like, she's just a fucking evil, conniving bitch. So, like, why not? I did think it was funny that he pulls out a small key and then she pulls out this huge key. I thought that was kind of funny. I did giggle at that.
Yeah. Overcompensating, right?
It's like a Looney Tunes cartoon. It's like literally, it was just fucking, all right.
Yeah. The rocket ship that gets as large as the Earth. But anyway, Josie's key is to a safety deposit box that contains enough evidence to bury Ben just as deep in shady shenanigans. Mexican standoff with no guns.
Just
Ben
keys.
ends the stalemate. Just keys. Big, long keys. Ben ends the stalemate by producing Tojimura's $5 million check and signing it over to Josie. She subsequently hands over the deed to the Packard Mill land. Transaction complete.
I didn't realize that was Tojimura's check.
Yeah.
Is that explained? I don't. How did he say that? I don't remember.
I'm not sure whether I gleaned that from like certain stuff I read or, but I do recall like if you watch, it's the same drawer. He pulls it out of the same drawer that he puts it into after receiving it.
I was like thinking in my head the entire time he was just going to give the case of money that he had gotten back from Coop.
No, that was only like 140 grand.
I guess. I didn't realize it was supposed to be so much money. Was there ever an actual amount? Am I stupid? Or was this $5 million just out of the blue all of a sudden? That's how much it's worth.
I don't think Josie ever names a number aside from like I think the insurance policy that she took out on Catherine was for $1 million.
Gotcha.
I think that's the only implication we got of like a 7-figure payout for Josie.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm not sure why Ben would give up $5 million just like that, but I mean, he does have the deed to the Packard Mill right now, which is what he needs for Ghostwood. So he figures he's got it made in the shade now.
Okay.
At the Johnson home, Bobby and Shelley are celebrating their disappointment in the typical American way, getting drunk and rocking out.
Pizza and Jack Daniels, baby.
Fuck yeah. Call Domino's.
And kazoos, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's the coming home party aspect. Leo is the man of the hour, and they've dressed him up in a party hat and sunglasses with a kazoo dangling from his mouth that buzzes slightly every time he exhales. Bobby makes a big welcome home speech about the comatose goober's many transgressions, telling him he deserves the life he's going to lead from now on. As the young lovers make out in front of the human vegetable, Shelley looks over to see Leo's head droop slightly forward, reflexively or intentionally. Shelley is rightfully creeped out, and Bobby agrees that, hey, they may have taken things a little bit too far. He continues to speak to Leo as if he's apologizing for their actions.
If this was a Lynch film, they would have. If this was a Lynch film, they would have fucked in front of him.
Yeah.
Just gonna put that out there.
His face would have fallen into the cake while they were fucking.
Yeah, right.
But he brings out the happy cake, which Leo promptly falls face first into. Thankfully, since they've got a good buzz on, Bobby and Shelley seem to find the humor in the situation. I guess that's what Shelley sees in the kid, is that he's always making her laugh.
I just found this whole sequence cringy. I can't even.
It was a little over the top.
It just
didn't age well, I don't think. But, real old show. Real old.
Real old. Anyway, good times.
But it was, they kind of had to do that sort of thing in this day and age. Coop has finally arrived at the sheriff's station for the first time today, where Cole has patiently awaited his arrival. After a quick game of What Dog Breed Are You?, Gordon asks to speak to Cooper alone. A laughable concept, given that Gordon's voice will carry through any closed door, as is quickly demonstrated.
You know what's interesting about this before we go any further? When Coop comes through the door and Coop knows he's there, it's interesting. But it's kind of sucks because there's no Lucy. There's no David Lynch Lucy scene.
She's still on vacation this week.
That's too bad, because that would have been fun to have like a David Lynch Lucy scene. I think that would have been awkward.
I honestly don't recall if we will get one later in the series or not.
Probably not.
I'm pretty sure we do.
All right. I just think that would have been interesting.
spoiler alert, this will not be David Lynch's last appearance as
What?
Gordon Cole.
How much is it? Does he play? He plays the same character, I imagine.
Oh, yes.
Okay. He doesn't dress up as like a Chinese person or Indian person.
No comment.
Okay, how about, does he play the same character in The Return?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, he gets to direct himself.
Cool. always the best.
He honestly gets some really good scenes in The Return.
I'm looking forward to The Return.
Oh, yeah. Where are we? Oh, yes, we're a voice carrying through the closed door. Gordon says that he and Albert are both concerned that Cooper is in over his head, and brings up an old case in Pittsburgh where Coop was also wounded in the line of duty. Coop defends himself by protesting that the cases are very different. Gordon concedes that Coop's faculties are intact, but they both agree he could use more rest. Gordon's got bad news, too, as they invite the sheriff in to join them. He produces an anonymous letter sent to Cooper at FBI headquarters. It's an opening move for a chess game, which Cooper intuitively understands is from former partner Wyndham Earle.
Pawn to King 4. That's what they should have called the episode. Not Demons.
Pawn to King 4.
Should have called it Pawn to King 4. Oh, well.
Gordon tells Coop they're going to have to watch his back from now on, and I think you've got a clue of where this show might be headed after we get this murder mystery part of it solved. Ben has brought Leland into his office with Jerry off in Iceland doing some diligence on the Scandinavian investment firm. Ben needs help to try and figure out how to continue to play both them and Mr. Tojimura for as much as they're worth while the whole Ghostwood deal gets figured out. After absent-mindedly plucking some fur from a stuffed fox behind him, Leland is quick to offer some cunning and devious solutions, showing us exactly why Ben Horne valued him as an attorney in the first place.
And then you get your second awkward hug.
Not quite. I've got almost a paragraph.
Sorry. All right.
I came up, yeah. So after hatching a plan, the two approach each other for almost a hug, but play it off as the awkward arm pats instead.
Who does that? I can't wait to do that to you every time I see you now. Just tap the side of your chin. Yeah, anyway.
I see it, yeah. But yeah, I guess Ben Horne reserves his hugs for people who save his daughter from junkie whorehouse madams and their weird French-Canadian enforcers.
I guess so. Jesus.
Those are the only people who get hugs from Horne.
Clearly.
Harry arrives at the Blue Pine Lodge right as Jonathan, or as Josie introduces him, Mr. Lee, is hauling her bags out the door. Truman confronts Josie about her sudden departure, and she continues to play him for a jackass.
Mm-hmm.
After a lot of dumb back and forth, Harry professes his love for Josie, but she walks out of the door anyway because that's the only way she can save his life.
I love you.
Josie, I love you.
I love you.
Oof. Yeah, I don't know about this scene. Soap opera shit, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
This was straight up soap opera shit. Not much beyond that. After dinner in the dining hall of the Great Northern, Ben Horne is continuing to try and sweet talk Mr. Tojimura, who is understandably pissed off at not having received any kind of return on his $5 million investment thus far. As Ben continues to spin excuses that are not impressing his guest, Leland decides now is a good time to pull a lounge act and entertain the crowd.
All right. So before this happens, because then they Tojimura and Mr. Horne, they separate into different scenes. Mm-hmm. So when they're sitting there, Mr. Tojimura, as I've already brought up, clearly is someone dressed up as an Asian person. But my comment, why does fucking Tojimura look like a fake Asian and sound like Princess Leia disguised as the bounty hunter with the thermal detonator in Return of the Jedi? Like, what the fuck is going on?
That's Boosh, nerds. Yes, we know his name.
Sorry, I'm not that nerdy. I didn't go look up the name.
I am. I got your back.
But, yeah. It's just so fucking...
Yeah,
It's exactly it. And you know what? It's exactly what it sounds like. Like, go back, listen to it. anyway, I was just like, what is going on here? Like, all right. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you will get an explanation.
Well, I think I already know because the next scene with him, I think, is a pretty big.
You think you've figured it out already?
Well, this person hasn't been in the episode, and they're clearly not dead. Like they haven't found the body. Like, and then this whole scene between them. Like, why would you even put them together? I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
That's your theory.
That's
okay.
My theory.
We'll let you go with that. Leland drags Ben into the show as Kojimura approaches the bar, where Pete correctly identifies the origin of the musical number as The King and I. Pete tries to make nice with the foreign visitor, who is not necessarily rude, but not exactly receptive either.
This person is dressed up, right? This is not an actual Asian person, right? Like
if you can sit on this for
like
one more week.
Okay. Oh, one more week.
One more week.
Oh, I'm just.
And you will get
we have to sit on it.
I'm
just. It's definitely not an Asian person. I just, as being part Asian, like how is this not racist? But okay.
Let's table this discussion until next week, because we'll probably have a good half hour on that. Mm-hmm. There are some fun behind the scenes stories about that.
Okay.
So anyway, spoiler alert. I'm sure you've all figured it out too.
Glass of milk, please.
Yeah. We end up in the conference room at the sheriff's station, where Philip says he can feel the change coming. That's right. He's really Kurt Connors, the lizard. Better hope James has a set of Spider-Man tights under his dumbass sweater.
Oh, boy.
That was sarcasm, folks.
Yep.
Gordon says the drug contains trace elements of haloperidol, which is used to treat schizophrenics. Cooper insists they withhold it from him in order to see the other side emerge. This almost seems cruel on Cooper's part. Like, this is the only time I ever kind of question his morality.
Yeah, but you want the truth.
Yeah, but it's pretty obvious that Philip is in pain.
Well, the person that talks next says he's clearly not in pain. It's fine.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
It's just a big show.
So yeah, emerge that other side does, as with a little bit of hammy acting and a metallic voice filter, we get the transition from Philip to Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Lots of exposition here as Mike explains that he and Bob are inhabiting spirits that require hosts to survive. Bob, it seems, has more of a parasitic nature as he feeds on fear and the pleasures.
The pleasures? What are the pleasures, Gabe?
I'll let you use your imagination.
Oh.
Mike says that he is similar to Bob and that they used to be partners, but that he saw the face of God and subsequently made it his mission to stop Bob. He jabs a finger at the police sketch, calling it Bob's true face, which can only be seen by the gifted or the damned. He claims that Bob has been near for around 40 years. In fact, he's in a large wooden house surrounded by trees with many similar rooms that hosts different souls night after night. That's right, Bob's host is currently at the Great Northern Hotel. Roll credits.
So, does Bob then change form, or is he like, or does Bob have a normal person also? Like, he looks normal.
Like, is he a were-Bob?
Yeah. Like, is he normal and then he turns into Crazy Bob? Like, how come we haven't seen normal Bob?
You will.
Oh, we will. Okay. This scene just like what?
Yeah. I guarantee you that, like, this is probably Lynch's least favorite scene of the entire series.
Because he's in this episode.
Yeah, I don't think he was on set for it. I mean, but I can see, like,
But he knew what was going on, right?
It reads like an entry in an encyclopedia, you know? It's so much backstory in so short an amount of time. It's not, you don't get any of this to simmer. I mean, you've seen some imagery of this, you've gotten some impressions of this, but this lays it all out for you. Here's the manual. This explains it.
It's almost like it almost could be like more believable if they were just fucking aliens. I mean, like, what? Huh?
Well, remember, those signals did come from,
well, the military guy
signals
did.
That, yeah,
there were signals.
Major Briggs received signals. He didn't exactly explain where they came from.
But they got signals.
They got signals.
So these are the signals they're probably receiving? I guess I gotta walk around you. I might like get you to trip up some information.
I mean, I don't know. I think we've done a fairly good job of avoiding the big reveal thus far. And as we know right here, we're only one episode away from it.
So we do learn the killer next episode?
We do learn the killer next episode.
And so it's one of 3 guys.
Essentially, unless you want to add Tojimura to that mix.
No. Well, no. It's either Mike, Bob, or Harold, right?
What?
Why wouldn't it be Harold? Harold? The flower guy.
Oh, well, he's not. Do we know if he's at the Great Northern right now?
He could be. He could be a liar.
That's true. I mean, we don't necessarily know that everybody that we've seen at the Great Northern tonight is everybody that is at the Great Northern.
Does Harold morph into Bob?
But, I mean, let's remember that Harold can't leave his house without collapsing.
Or he turns into Bob. When he collapses, he turns into Bob. Come on.
Maybe that's why he never leaves the house?
Yes.
Interesting
because he turns into Bob.
Because he's a wereBob.
He's a wereBob. Anyway. What is happening?
Anyway.
We get
a lot of reveals next week. Not necessarily closure, but reveals.
Okay, I have questions then. I have a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Did this show know initially that it was always going to be a full run of 22 episodes or whatever?
They knew that they had 22 episodes this season. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So they weren't like running this episode. Okay.
But the reveal of the killer happening midway through the season was forced by the network.
Oh, weird.
Yes.
That's such a weird choice.
And yeah, they just. I mean, keep in mind that most shows in this day and age did not stretch out a mystery for this long. Mm-hmm. And like the idea of never solving this mystery was completely foreign to them. Like reportedly, President George H.W. Bush was taking a personal interest in the series and contacting network executives asking when the killer was going to be revealed.
Oh, that's interesting. That's funny.
Whether or not that played into the decisions made, who knows? I'm sure Lynch has his suspicions.
So does Lynch show up in the next episode?
I think so. I'd have to look. But yeah, he's around a fair amount over the next 5 or 10 episodes, I would say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, well, we're done with the wrap up right now, so I guess I can move over to the IMDb credits and we can see just how many episodes Lynch is in for as an actor.
Because okay. And he directs the final episode, or no?
He does direct the final episode, yes. Right. I don't recall if Gordon Cole appears in the final episode or not.
Huh.
I'm thinking not right now, but I could be mistaken. Sort by actor. Oh, he was in The Fabelmans?
Lynch was, yes.
I did not know that.
He plays a director.
Imagine that.
Well, he plays an important director, actually.
He was in an episode of Louie, too.
Oh, interesting.
Let's see. So, he is in the next episode, but after that, he has 3 more appearances. Does not appear in any of the final 3 episodes of the initial series.
So has he...
So he only makes a total of 6 appearances in the original series, with one of those being voice only.
And what is his general outlook on this season of this show?
He dislikes it very much.
So then why is he... why does he show up in
because, it? So I think Lynch's major gripe was the notion that he had to solve what he felt was the core mystery, which was the death of Laura, or who murdered Laura. I feel like he was able to rediscover a certain passion in the mystery of what we know now as simply the Red Room, which gets some other titles later on. But for right now, so the giant and the dwarf and the backwards talking and Cooper's vision and the roots of all of that, that's our new mystery.
Oh, okay.
That's the one, and that's the one that hooked me for life. And that's the one that dragged me through 25 years to the return.
So what happens after this, that part of it, does that deal with that part?
Or the Red Room continues to play a part of the narrative.
Through all that. So
even throughout and after the murder is solved. So
Lynch isn't necessarily writing that, but he did still have a directive in some of this, or no?
I'm sure he showed up in the writer's room from time to time. Maybe not, I think during the initial planning stages of season 2, he was out a lot due to promoting Wild at Heart. And so there are a lot of characters that have a lot of arcs that he probably had no say in.
So the return has a lot to do with the second half of the season and nothing to do with Palmer?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, no.
No. Is the return its own thing? Or does it deal with...
I really think it's more its own thing, yeah.
Okay.
But it
just pulls on it pulls the originals. It pulls some ideas from it that kind of make you think, but ultimately it's its own
ideas that Lynch never could have explored on television in 91.
Like if you would if someone just randomly watched The Return, would they get a full complete story and be fine? You think?
That's like asking if someone watched Lost Highway, do you think they get a full complete story and are they fine?
Well, sure. See, there you go. Sure you do.
Maybe. It's...
I mean, that would be interesting to watch it and then fill it in with all the blanks, someone else...
It's like Watchmen, the HBO series, without Watchmen, the comic. You can watch it, but you're going to miss a tremendous amount of context.
Well, but there is still a reliance on the original, though, for that. How much reliance on the original does The Return have?
I mean, almost total.
Okay, well then, never mind.
Yeah, I really don't think anyone who watched The Return had never seen Twin Peaks before.
Right.
If they had, they probably turned it off within 2 or 3 episodes tops.
I mean, obviously, it's only for fans, really, anyway. But I'd be curious, man, if anyone had done that or is willing to do that for us. Anyway. Okay. All right.
Something to think about. But yeah, you have several questions.
I have. What am I? Yeah, now I'm like, what did I have? Well, some of them pertain to something I can't talk about because I was been told to wait till next week.
The obviously non-Asian person?
Yeah, so I won't talk about that. The Josie Truman stuff, does that drag out or is that over?
It drags out.
Okay. So pretty much everything drags out. Nothing in this is ever just over. And how many of these actual storylines wrap up in this season? Like, does the Leo thing wrap up?
Aside from,
does the Ed and Nadine
like,
thing wrap up? No, just
Sorry, I missed that.
No, does the just like do the
Oh,
there's a lot.
Out.
Am I dropping out? You're dropping out. I think you're dropping out. You're kind of freezing a little bit. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you,
okay.
But your camera is off. I don't see your video.
Oh, really?
There you are. You're back.
Maybe your internet. Are you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Oh, that could be it. What was I saying? All these subplots, how nicely are they wrapped up in the end of this season? Like, there's a lot of crazy subplots, like Leo and Bobby and Shelley, Nadine and Ed. Like, did those actually get cleaned up, or are those just like left hanging? Like, how much of this stuff is left hanging?
I'd give it about 50-50, or maybe 60-40 in favor of hanging.
Okay. Interesting. Does that stuff get recalled? Any of it get recalled in the return?
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of stuff that gets recalled in the return.
Okay.
There's lots of original cast members that we revisit. Like I said, right before we get there, I'll read off the cast list, which is what Lynch did, is he published the cast list once they started filming. So I'll just put that out, and I'll let you glean from that what characters we'll get to see again and which ones we won't.
I guess the other thing that is fascinating to me is just how not important these subplots are to the actual plot. Like,
they're very much tangents.
Like, Bobby was the girlfriend or the boyfriend of Sarah Palmer.
Laura Palmer.
Sorry, Sarah. I don't know.
Sarah's her mom.
Sarah. There it is. But then that ship sailed. Nothing's happening. There was kind of a revenge on James, but he seems to not care about that anymore. Him and Shelley are doing this thing with Leo, and they never run into, like, those characters never run into each other anymore. Like, Ed. When's the last time Ed was around anybody but Nadine?
Like, besides James or Nadine?
Like, when? Like, it's weird. Yeah,
we get I didn't realize in a few cases how quick some of the glimpses that we get of these characters are. Like, this week's Ed and Nadine scene was a very good example of that in particular. Like, I think we got 45 seconds with them, tops. And that was the only update we got, is Nadine's still crazy, Ed's still freaked out about it. That's what's happening. It's like they were just almost on screen, like, just for the sake of us not forgetting about them.
It's very.
And it pains me to say
write them out. I would write them out. I would have.
It pains me to say that Audrey eventually kind of gets lumped into that same group as well as the season goes on.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Which is, it's unfortunate. Audrey does not ever reclaim the glory that we saw in season 1.
God, I'd make her like kind of like she likes the thrill, and she'd go back to Jake, One-Eyed Jax. Anyway. And then, like, I just don't...
actually, I'm pretty sure we've seen the last of One-Eyed Jax.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I don't think we ever make another visit there.
Wow, crazy.
I might be mistaken about that, but... because I know Jean Reno is still out and about. He's still got a hold of Hank somewhere, too.
Oh, Hank. We didn't see Hank.
Yeah, the last we saw of Hank, Reno had a knife at his throat.
Oh, yeah,
right outside of Jax.
We didn't really see.
We haven't seen, where that ends up. Renault's still a threat. He's still bopping about.
Gotcha.
But we may not see him for a few episodes yet. Our focus may be elsewhere, as the president dictated at the time.
All right, another question. Because wasn't the last episode the food critic?
It was. They just mentioned the possibility.
Oh, so we don't. So is
that storyline is ongoing?
It's ongoing.
It is ongoing.
Okay. Okay, that was my other question. It's like, weren't we supposed to have? Because like Takijimura was. Oh, he might be totally no more of that bellhop person. Not in this episode. She was like had a shit ton of scenes last episode, but
Oh yeah, like
not this time.
the gal at the desk.
Yeah. It's just like I was
God,
trying to
was
like
that just our last
remember.
episode that we did?
I was looking over my notes and trying to think like what, and yeah, so like that food critic thing because like they were all prepping for this thing and then not here at all. None of that. I find it funny, what we're not doing that this week. Nah, I don't want to deal with that. It's just funny. It's really funny, man. That's why you need a single showrunner, a single person that is in charge of every episode. Even if it's not the director, it's like a showrunner, a producer that's just always like the continuity and the through line. And that's while you have to applaud Twin Peaks for starting something cool like this, just how important to make this actually a viable and interesting, really an interesting type of a medium is to have that one person that is like making sure that all of this is cohesive. Because this is so disjointed.
Get that with The Return. Like The Return is directed every episode by Lynch. Like he got his name on the writer's credits on every episode. So
exactly.
Yeah, you get that element of control, and that's like. But yeah, you can see how Lynch being constrained by the limits of television, how his storytelling suffers as a result of that.
But not only that, he's also doing other things.
Yes, he does have other projects that he's simultaneously working on.
So while he probably should have overseen it, there should have been still just a person that was literally just more like, I don't know, just.
Well, I think Frost served.
I guess, but then he's overlooking a lot of shit that I'm just like.
Yeah, I think the problem became that Lynch and Frost didn't necessarily have the same vision for the direction of the show.
Yeah, perhaps.
Which may have been evidenced by Frost's absence from the production of Fire Walk with Me. Although he did subsequently come back for The Return, so maybe he just needed the money.
Just needed a break from this bullshit.
So we did mention earlier that this episode was once again directed by Leslie Linka-Glatter, one of our favorites here at Blank as a Fart. We've enjoyed her work quite a bit.
She's done a lot. Prolific.
Prolific, yes. This is her third of 4 episodes. She's got one more left, about 10 weeks down the line, it looks like. Episode 16 of season 2 is where we go next. I did want to go over some interesting trivia aspects of her career that we haven't discussed yet.
Okay.
One of the earliest credits I noticed for her was as a choreographer for the music video of Sheila E.'s The Glamorous Life.
That falls on deaf eyes.
I don't think I've ever seen the video myself either, but I'm very familiar with the song.
Oh, really? I don't know it.
Oh, yeah. Being a Prince nerd as I am.
Oh, there you go.
I'll send you a link. Maybe we'll do some research for her next episode.
Cool.
But yeah, so that was in 1984.
All right.
But I did. She served as a choreographer for various like live and musical productions at that stage of her career as well, like all across Europe, Asia, and the U.S., according to her bio. It's also noted that she serves as the first vice president of the DGA. That was on their Western Directors Council, and she serves on the executive committee of the Directors Branch of the Academy.
That's the Directors Guild, for those of you that don't know.
Oh, the DGA, yeah. Using insider terms over here.
Yeah, for the layman out there.
And the shortened academy is the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences.
Indeed.
So she's
connected.
She's hot shit. Yeah. Like she is very well established. I mean, she is a pioneer as one of like the top women directors in Hollywood, New York, whatever you want to call it. She's been around. She's done it all.
Very cool. Yeah, no,
and
I mean
we
she's
enjoy her work quite a bit.
yeah, she's
So
what?
are there certain things that, like, in this episode in particular, that you see about her style that differ from Lynch? Like, where are those big stylistic differences between the two of their approaches that you see here?
Uh, uh, well, I will say what I will say is that she's a very TV director. She's not showy. She gets the job done. It's not something that really draws my. Like last week, the other director, the dude that did the Wizard, like he did
Yeah,
some
yeah.
scenes. He did some very awkward framing and some kind of weird in-camera transitions from scenes to scenes, very
Hmm.
kind of showy in a sense, but
Right.
look kind
Whereas,
of gimmicky because it's television. Whereas if you were doing that in film, you could have made it seem more elegant. I feel like she knows what she's doing within the confines of the medium, and it's just very just let's get it, let's make it look good. You know,
mhm.
the only actual scene in this where I actually thought, oh, that's pretty cool looking, well, interesting lit. The scene where Lynch and McLaughlin are in their room talking to each other, yelling at each other in Truman's office. But
Not in an unhappy way,
the
mind
way
you.
it's kind of low lit, and the first initial shot of Lynch has this kind of very Hollywood kind of look to it that I thought maybe that's the first shot they shot with Lynch. And so
Mm.
I don't know. It just seemed a little bit more. It seemed that sequence between those two guys in that office seemed a bit more produced than a lot of the other stuff. Just seemed kind of off the cuff. As far
Yeah,
as
no, I think that sounds right.
versus Lynch, Lynch will do a lot of gimmicky, goofy stuff
Mhm.
because he's a film director. So he'll try
Right.
something, maybe it doesn't work. He'll frame things interesting. I don't think a lot of what he does works in television sometimes, just because I don't know.
Particularly in early 90s television.
Especially in the earlier part that well, I mean, he's only directed like what 3 episodes at this point too, right?
That
4,
sounds right, yeah.
and she's directed
Yeah, the list
3.
wasn't long.
So I mean,
Yep.
I just think that
So they're about on even ground as far as putting their own stamp on the style of things.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot because they're moving at such a on a film you have like a long time I mean you don't have a lot of time, but you generally have more time to shoot a scene. You're staging that scene, you're blocking that scene more carefully. On television you're just trying to get through it all because
Right.
you have
Especially when
especially
you're
on this season with 22 episodes.
right.
So I think she just knows, and he's probably trying things when he should probably just get the shot as opposed
Right.
to trying to
So
be
she's got
creative.
a little
Yeah,
bit more utilitarian
I
in
think
her
so. That's
approach versus like the auteur that Lynch always
Yeah, so like for this episode, I have no
shoots with.
real concerns or like I don't. There's the shot on the couch with Josie when she's like half undressed, kind of. That's a great
Hmm.
shot. Just a well established shot. She kind
Yeah,
of
good slow pan.
she almost falls out of her dress. It's just like a very simple. Seems like a like you've probably seen that shot on TV a million times. It's just a very clean, well done, and she's efficient. She knows what she needs to do to get.
Hmm.
That's what I'm gonna say. That's probably why she's done like 4 episodes, and then she probably got a better gig. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what she did after, but
She actually worked on the other Lynch Frost show briefly, which was what was it, on the air, off the air? What did they call it?
oh, I didn't know there was another one.
Uh, on the air. This one was the full-on comedy, which
Oh.
I've never seen this. I don't know if it's like available for streaming or watching
How
or
many
what
episodes
have
did
you.
she do?
Let's see. Well, only 7 episodes exist. So she did 2 of them.
Probably knew it was a
But
turd.
yeah,
Probably knew it was a
so
turd. So it's like, I'll do two, and
on
then
the air, it's a period piece.
Oh, what?
So yeah, the year is 1957. The cast and crew of the Lester Guy Show are extremely apprehensive about their upcoming live broadcast on the Zablotnik Broadcast Company network. Lester Guy despises fellow cast member Betty Hudson for unknowingly becoming more popular than him and schemes to destroy her career.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay, so Lester Guy, the star of the show in this, is portrayed by Ian Buchanan, who we know as Dick Tremaine in Twin Peaks.
Okay.
Miguel Ferrer also appears in the show as Bud Waller. I'm going to have to see if we can find a copy of this. This could be an interesting watch.
Does Miguel Ferrer show up again in the season?
In Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Because I was kind of afraid, like the way Lynch was saying, like he's not going to show up. He's just not going to be here.
Like he's never coming back.
Back?
No, you will see Albert appear again.
All right, Albert. I forget his name. Too many names.
Albert Rosenfield or Feld, depending on which script you're reading, I suppose.
I thought it was Rosenthal. No?
No.
Rosenfield? Oh, interesting. Okay. All right.
We'll have to wait and see when it comes up next. So anyway, like I will start telling you when we've seen a season 2 wraps on certain characters.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a wrap for.
But that's a season 2 wrap, or an original series wrap, is what I will say.
That's an original season wrap for Ed.
But I will not, offer you any more details than that.
Okay.
So as not to spoil who gets an appearance.
An appearance in the return?
In the return.
Dude, I hope Harold makes it.
I will say that an actor passing in between the production of the original series and the return does not necessarily preclude their appearance in the return. There may or may not be some archive footage involved.
Yeah. Got you.
So some of that is kind of necessary for the story.
Gotcha.
And it's done in creative and interesting ways that really only David Lynch could dream up.
So my only then favorite thing is does the Maddie, Donna, James love guitar theme show up in their return?
Do you want me to spoil the answer to that already?
Oh man, do I? If you have to say that, then you already did.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Do I want to know?
Do you want to know?
I mean, I don't really. It's gonna show up. I have this awful feeling it's gonna show up in that fucking. Do they use this fucking the actual theme song of Twin Peaks in the return? Or they have a new theme?
Like the opening music?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the original theme.
Oh man, couldn't get Trent Reznor to like do a new score or something, huh?
I will say you get a lot more you get a better selection of situational music. Like you don't get the limited score that you do with the original series.
And
yeah.
Over again. Okay. All right.
You get callbacks to certain cues for sure.
God, I can't wait for it.
During certain key scenes. Most of the time, the only time you're going to
Gabe, they're going to sing it again, aren't they? They're going to
sing what?
That fucking love theme.
How much do you want me to spoil, really?
You don't have to spoil it. I just want to put that out there.
You just want to put the idea on the universe and see if it manifests?
That I'm going to have to listen to this song again, but they're going to sing it to me again. All right.
Are they?
Oh, they are. All right. I mean, I don't know. What else? Do we have any other wonderful trivia?
No neato trivia that's episode specific, I'm afraid. The writers on this episode were, who was it? It was Harley Payton and Robert Engels, I believe, who we've already discussed. They didn't do anything particularly special outside of this writer's room.
So they actually reveal the murderer next week?
Yes, they do.
Is that like a mid-season finale thing or no? They don't even bother with that in during broadcasting. Was it not teased or in any way or in that?
They did tease it. The promo the week beforehand. I remember like this week we find out, one of these people killed Laura Palmer, and they flash like 7 characters on the screen. So yeah, they definitely advertised it as this is the episode where you find out, and it did bump the ratings.
Right.
Speaking of the ratings, we hadn't gotten to that yet.
But they didn't do like mid-season type of stuff back then, did they? Like season finale?
They didn't have a mid-season sweeps. No, the sweeps period was still strictly in May.
Okay.
At the end of the season. So this episode aired November 3rd, 1990. So yeah, this would have just been, prior to the holiday lull of television, I guess, which you do get. So this episode did 11.3 million viewers, a 7.6 household rating. That's a slight uptick from last week, but it's still pretty low for the rest of the series. Same household shares last week, 14, with a rank of 71 on the week. And once we get to next week, I'll discuss the bump we saw as a result of that.
It's funny because like we were talking about the director stuff, and it's like this did feel like a way better, way more well put together episode than last week's, or the last episode. But the amount of goofy stuff, like that opening sequence with Harold, the Leo party shit, and just the unhingedness of that final scene with the space spirit or the normal spirit. I don't know. It's just like there's a lot of goofy. It's funny to like have it like. You know what I mean?
We're not
like
so much like a police procedural anymore.
It's like the wheels are falling off. It's like,
well, we might have lost one of the back ones now.
We got a tricycle,
but we've got 3 wheels left, right?
We just throw
Couldn't possibly have all of them fall off during the rest of the season, right?
It's like a Herbie movie. You put like a wagon wheel on the back missing one. Anyway, no, it's just interesting, like. Because when you asked me what I thought of her directing style, I was like, I did think this was a really well put together episode. I had like no issues with it because usually I can pick something out, but it just like went by really fast. This was actually a different viewing. I'll say this. Usually what happens is that I'll be having a few beers and I'll watch this at like 6:30 just before we record. And so I'll be a little inebriated. And this time I watched it earlier in the day because I was off today and just watched it sober, and it flew by. So I was like, I was really into this episode in the sense that it worked for me. Like it just, and I could still pull this stuff out. Sometimes I'll watch it and it's just like, oh my God, this is going on forever. Like when they said, oh, it's the Great Northern, and it cut to the person's at the Great Northern, or whatever. When he did the riddle, and then cut to the Great Northern, and then the credits came. I was like, "Oh, it's over already." I was like, very like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." So like this, the pacing, and regardless of the corniness of some of these sequences, the pacing and how well it was kind of put together, really flew by for me. So I don't know if it really matters, but I felt like this was a tight episode, even though some of the topics was like, what? But we did get a lot in this episode, really.
It did fill us in on a lot of stuff, yeah. We didn't get a lot of long, dragged-out scenes. We just got just enough to, like you said, it's Leslie Linka-Glatter's utilitarian approach. We got exactly what we needed. Not a lot of indulgence and not a lot of extraneous bullshit.
Right.
So,
there's a lot of bullshit in there, but
this episode, it moved the plot along quite a bit.
Right. Who directs? So. Is this a new director? Is this an old director, like, coming into this next episode? I'm curious about this now.
I am curious about this, too, now. I didn't check this in advance, but we can find out as we speak. Next week's episode is directed by David Lynch.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Interesting.
So,
we do get him back.
When he was forced to do what he didn't want to do, At least he got
He
to
didn't
do
do
it
it
himself.
himself. And he's in
He
the scene,
killed that goose on
but
his
he's also
own.
in the episode, right?
He is in the episode,
Oh,
yes.
here we go. Is this a great episode or is it a bad episode? What do you think? Do you remember it?
It is the highest rated episode on IMDb.
Oh. Mainly because they want to see who the killer is. But is it, like, do you remember it?
Let me double check that.
Is it a standout episode, though?
It is.
Aside from that?
It is.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Excited, Gabe.
it's one I'll remember for the rest of my life.
I have a question. A lot of great series I've watched a lot, and I've watched them over again. But sometimes there's a series where I'll just watch a certain episode over and over again, just because I like that episode so much. It's put together, or whatever happens in it. I don't need to like watch the 2 seasons before it or the 3 episodes before. I just go, I just want to watch that episode again. Does Twin Peaks have that for you? Have you ever just like rewatched an episode?
Of the original series?
Yeah, original or return. You just like, I wanted to watch
The Return, absolutely.
number 6. I just want to rewatch number 6.
Yes, The Return absolutely has an episode like that, and it's the most unique hour of television I've ever seen.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It defies explanation.
But nothing in the original series.
Maybe the last 2 episodes
Of first season or this season?
Of this season, like the final 2 episodes of the original series, and the next week's episode is a standout in particular.
Okay. Just curious,
So these are like the benchmark episodes of the original series, I feel.
So we're gonna get a high next week, and then it's just gonna drop down to a pit of nothingness.
That's
we're
right.
Gonna have to claw our way back out.
We're climbing that drop on the roller coaster, and then we're gonna coast for several episodes until we end the original series.
Lucy and Nadine and Shelley.
We'll get some new characters.
Oh, new characters. Oh, boy. Good gravy. Are there memorable new characters?
A couple.
All right. Actors I would know, or just some... Oh, okay.
At least one who was impressively young when they appeared.
Interesting. All right.
Actually, I want to say there are at least 2 that you'll recognize.
Cool.
One of whom, like, had to have been younger than 20 when they appeared in this series. And one of whom, this would have been just before they broke really big.
Oh, great. It's like watching I'm a big fan of the OC, and when Chris Pratt was in the OC, people are like, what? Chris Pratt was in the OC? Yeah, fuck yeah, he was. Anyway.
What was the other dumb show he was on? Everwood, was it?
I don't know.
Some
Probably.
CW Christian drama bullshit. Yeah.
Everwood.
I looked at his old credits. I mean, I loved him on Parks and Rec. He's brilliant on Parks and Rec.
I loved him in OC. So.
There you go.
Anyway.
Yeah. So that's all I've got for tonight.
Cool.
What about you? Any other additional?
Those are all my questions. I didn't look up anything. I try to. You know me. I try not to dirty my hands in this too much.
I'm glad. I mean, because I figured you probably would have called the Tojimura thing immediately.
Oh.
Because if you'd have used the casting thing.
The casting thing?
Like the stuff where you paused it on Amazon to look up who was in the scene, it totally would have spoiled it for you.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
So, yeah, don't Google any names you see.
I don't Google names. What I do is, I do Google names, but I only Google the director's name.
Okay.
So, I was like, oh, this is the same girl from the previous woman from, not girl, she's a woman, but from the previous thing. But anytime there's a director's name and I'm not sure who that is, I'll Google it and I'll see what their filmography is, just so I can see if I can make any kind of connections to their style to the episode.
Right.
But I try not to get too. I don't want to get in the weeds at all. So.
Right. Yeah.
It's more fun that
Well,
way.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad you're not spoiling things for yourself, because I feel
No,
like
Gabe.
there's a
I get on
couple
the
of key
Wikipedia. I've
things.
been reading it episode by episode, just the paragraphs. I'm,
Well, and I worry that there are some things that I have already spoiled for you that are going to like take away from certain aspects, but hopefully that's not the case.
I mean, aside from me joking around about what I think or what I think is coming or what should be coming, no, I don't feel like you've spoiled anything for me.
I will say that there was something that you correctly predicted that kind of blew me away.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to go there just yet,
Oh,
but
okay, because it might
it
spoil
was
something
something
else.
that really, really surprised me. I'm not going to lie.
That's cool. Interesting.
We'll get there. I'll point it out to you when we get there.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to that.
But yeah, until then, you
Because
want
I'm
to
usually
blast
wrong,
it again?
Gabe. I'm usually wrong about everything. So
I mean, when it comes to 35-year-old television series, you might be better at this shit than you thought.
maybe. All right.
All right, flash that Gmail, baby.
Blank as a fire.
Gmail.com.
Yeah.
Or Instagram. That's where you're going to most commonly see us. Also Facebook. Sometimes I forget. Also Threads. I'm really not enjoying the Threads experience anymore.
I haven't even started, and I probably won't.
It's just as much of a time waster as Twitter was, and it's only slightly less toxic.
Slightly.
I mean, it bugs me how many goddamn trolls there are in the world. Just how many people find amusement in shitting on things that other people enjoy.
Especially when you have me, your own personal troll, you don't need,
right,
don't, when you have your own friendly troll, why do you want another troll you don't know,
You shit on my taste in music enough as it is.
Exactly.
Why do I need the internet?
I like to shit on everybody. I don't really actually like to. Unfortunately, it's just something, it's a bad habit I picked up from, it's genetics. I think it's just my mom is a bully and I'm a bully.
I think it's Gen X. I think so many of us were raised on sarcasm,
and good fucking music.
On sarcasm and snit and
good fucking music. So like,
that too. Plenty of good music, no lies there.
That's the problem with that is it just becomes like who your camp is, just like anything. Your tribe of music versus someone else's tribe of music, and it's just
dude, yeah, no, I am in the Nirvana was overrated camp.
100%. I love Nirvana, but I would agree with that. I get that.
Yeah, that's not to say that I dislike Nirvana. I do like Nirvana, but overrated. Right place, right time, right song. But for my money, best grunge era band, Alice in Chains, 100%.
See, I'm not a big Alice in Chains fan either, but I'm not gonna shit on that. So.
Are you a Soundgarden guy then, or
no,
Pearl Jam?
I'm a Pearl Jam guy.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Nothing wrong with that. They're still alive, and they do a lot of good for the world.
On the kick-ass show too. I saw them play at the Gorge one year, and that was one of my favorite Gorge shows that I've ever been to.
I've seen them play a few times. I
don't know shit about their catalog beyond Versus, to be honest with you.
Yeah, cool.
I did tell my friend that I went to the show with, because I'd heard their cover of Last Dance, and I thought it was just sappy and terrible, and I told them they better not play that fucking song. And they did, of course.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, because this was at the Gorge, and I'm like, I think they were just having fun at that point, because they played a long time.
Well, they also do the thing where their shows they change the set list constantly. They're always so we'll throw this one in.
Just like Trent, just like Nine Inch Nails.
He kind of does that thing where before the show, he just kind of I'm feeling this song and this song, and they write a whole set list, and the band just has to know how to play these fucking songs.
Yeah, they just gotta, they know they're only going to play 25 on any given night, but they got to rehearse 80 of them.
Right. But you know what? I used to karaoke.
Weird Al did to his band.
I used to karaoke Last Dance all the time.
Did you really?
I'm thinking about bringing it back. So just for you, Gabe. Next time we karaoke together, just for you, baby.
I'll cheer for it that time. But yeah, when they did play the song, I turned and looked at my friend and gave him the eye, and he just does this.
It's a pretty good song.
I just kind of shrugged it off. I'd been having a good enough time, and they'd played enough songs that I did enjoy. That I wasn't going to fault it. It didn't ruin the evening for me.
I believe all the proceeds from that single when they released it went to some charity, actually.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it was it Mothers Against Drunk Driving or
something like that? I don't remember, but that was a long
worth
time ago.
looking up. Yeah, it certainly was. Jesus, over 20 years since that show.
We're old, Gabe. Or we're getting
Fuck
there
yeah,
anyway.
We are.
Well,
anyway. We certainly can't call ourselves young anymore at any rate.
Well, they still card me, so that's good.
Dude, when I was in Colorado, they carded my stepdad.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
There you go. But not you?
Miller. Oh, they carded me too.
Oh.
But at least I got a cocktail. I mean, he just got like a draft beer.
Oh, that's funny.
So, yeah, I guess they must be real hard asses about it in Colorado. But enough of our personal bullshit, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks again for tuning in.
Indeed.
We hope you enjoyed it. Next week, the episode is Lonely Souls. Once again, a lot of people, at least the nerds on IMDb, consider this their favorite episode of the original series. It's a big one, folks. So please tune in. Spend some time catching up on the old ones. You can catch all those links in the bios on any of the social medias. Again, thanks for watching, listening, subscribing, liking, sharing, all of that fun stuff. We love you, folks. See you next week.
Bye.
Thank you.